All right, all right. Before we get into that talk, we got story time. Star Citizen. Okay, if you haven't heard of Star Citizen, it's okay, because the game isn't actually out. It's never going to actually be out. Okay, but it has a cult
That's not
following.
true.
All right, like you guys ever watch American Greed? You guys ever seen that show, American Greed? So American Greed, it talks about these scammers. They start these Ponzi schemes and everything like that, and like they con people about giving them all the money, and like the people that are in the con never want to believe that they're being conned, right? That they're being scammed because
Because
it's
you're
a
a
shot to the
smart
pride.
individual.
Yeah, they're smart, right? And they just talk themselves into believing no, it's going to work out until all their money is drained. Okay, well that's what Chris Roberts is. Okay, Chris Roberts is the creator of this mythical game called Star Citizen. Now, yes, there's a lot of yeah, that guy right there. I mean, if this guy tells you, hey, why don't you go ahead and give me $2,000 for this spaceship in a video game? All right, trust me, I'm good for it. You gonna do it? Because a lot of people have.
The answer is yes.
so be go ahead and break down Star Citizen a little bit.
Oops. Well, I mean, I kind of talked about it last week, so I'm done.
Okay, all right.
He's saving it for the old man gamers.
It's not coming back. God damn it!
Isn't
All
it?
right, it's it started out in I want to say it was either late 2011 or late 2012. I forget the exact year, but it's been about a decade. And they had a Kickstarter because they couldn't get funded traditionally, and they wanted to have a kind of a transparent development process, which credit to them, they have had. They give updates just about weekly to the community, and they show what they've been working on, talk about what like any snags that they've hit, and just it's been just really kind of an informative and interesting thing to watch if you're into video game development. And it was all good for several years. And I told you last week I had donated as well. I bought the $35 pack, which just gets you the game and like the little intro ship. And I fell so far into the hype. I gave him another 35. I was like, I'm gonna get a little bigger ship. I'm in for 70 now. And it was all good. And I'm on the forums all the time, just looking for news. And I joined up with this guild because they have a bunch of guilds because they have Corvette class ships, and you have to have a bunch of people to run it. So guilds would form, and they would all donate because it was several $1,000s, and they would buy it for the guild and everything. So I joined one, and then they were like, "Oh, okay, well, here's your job." And then I was like, "Screw this! I'm not part of your guild anymore. You're not giving me work to do."
Like I have a job.
Like they had appointed recruiters and everything. I'm not.
B, you sound nerdy as fuck.
I'm not okay, Magic player. But
as he plays Magic the Gathering right now,
right. So I dropped out of that guild. I quit, and but I'm still following it and everything, and it's all good. And then I get to the point where I signed up because they had this thing called Squadron 42, which is a single player campaign, and it sounded really interesting.
Squadron
and
42.
they're developing that, and then they're developing the I forget exactly what they called, like the persistent universe, essentially, which is like the big online portion of the game. And I started noticing that all the updates were about the persistent online portion of the game, and I don't play games online, so I started to get a little angry. And so it's like Raven's Twitter. After a few years, there started to be some fractures in the community, and there were some people who were complaining, and then there were Star Patrollers, and they would be going at each other in every thread, and it got to the point where like it was just constant fighting, no matter what they put out, no matter what anybody was talking about on the message boards. And then I believe it was Kotaku, which is a video game site. It may have been them or Polygon, one of those sites. They put out an article talking about Star Citizen and their developer, and them using the money to buy, drugs and hookers, and it talks about their abusive environment there. There's a lot of racism and sexism going on at the developer and everything. Because up until this point, they were like, "Oh, we're just spending your money on development stuff. We built our own motion capture studio, so we wouldn't have to hire people."
But B, they didn't spend it all on hookers and blow, right? Like they spent some money on some top talent, like Mark Hamill, right? That's Mark Hamill in the game. They said they paid this man $2 million for that little scene right there. Okay,
Mark ain't cheap. That's the voice of the Joker right there.
That's they say, look, you want me on camera?
That is Luke Skywalker. Okay, you're gonna pay.
So at this point, the community is fracturing a bit, and after that article came out, a lot of people were just out, and people started asking for refunds in droves, and me being the follower that I am, and I'd hop right on that. I'm like, give me my refund too. And and I went, I had to go back and forth with Chris Robertson's wife. Is it? I don't even know if it's Robertson now. I think I said that wrong.
Roberts.
But, Chris Roberts. His wife, like 7 or 8 emails to get my money back, and they eventually gave me my money, and they're like, "Hey, we'll give you your money, but we're deleting your account forever." And I'm like, "I'm not coming back to the game. I asked for my refund.
Toast. You're finished here."
And I bet I wouldn't be able to just sign up with a new email. But whatever. Thanks, Andy. So I got my money back. And then they set a end date. They're like, "All right, there's too many of you asking for your money back. So, you have to send in an email by this date. Otherwise, don't ask. We're not giving any more refunds." And, so most of the malcontents got out at that point, and things went back to relative harmony on the Star Citizen forums.
Yeah, they got that money rolling again.
Yeah, they're getting their donations back up, and they go back to just kind of talking about the development. And that went on for several more years.
Yeah, they tell you about all the nice things. Like, this is from the game. It looks nice, right?
Yeah.
That's the Star Citadel. Like, if like the parts that they kind of tease out, they let you like play parts of the game, right? They say, "Hey, you can go in there and play it," so they can show, "Hey, we have something here." You can find all kinds of people on YouTube showing videos like, "Oh yeah, look how great this area is. Now it's gonna be really nice when we can go downstairs, right?" Like, like you can look down there. It was nice, but like they're still developing that part. Oh man, look how beautiful the city is, man. Look, like you got this over here, you got this building over there. Now, where we can actually cross the street, that's going to be amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like
well, yeah, they were developing essentially slices.
Yes,
or they would put out slices where you could play some of the multiplayer a little bit. You can go to this one planet and go around in the bar or whatever. But that kind of stuff was few and far between, and all of it is pre-alpha, and it's really buggy and everything. They put out, they gave everybody their own personal hangar where they could go and see all their ships because they paid all this money for their ships, and you can go and get in the ships and everything, fly them around a little bit. So that's all good, and all the people who are in will tell you, "No, I've already gotten my money's worth." Because, like Jose said, when you're getting scammed, nobody likes to admit it, so you just kind of go along with it. I'm very happy with just being able to take out my Corvette for a 15-minute spin and then take it back to the hangar. That's great. I love it. But they're not close to delivering on everything that they promised, which was you get your ship and you can mod it however you want, and you got to actually you got to get insurance on all the different parts that you install on the ship, because if a pirate attacks you, and they steal your ship or blow it up or whatever, you don't have insurance, you just lose everything. And and there's all these different star systems you can go to, and you can go be a miner, you can go be a pirate, you can go be space police, you can go be roving bands of ships that just go out and help people who are sending out distress signals, whatever you want. But none of that actually really exists at this point, because they're just putting out these little experiences to keep dragging people along so they can keep funneling money in. For what? I mean, I don't know. It kind of seems like it's just going into the Roberts' pockets at this point. But the development rolls on, and someday I guess they're planning on actually putting out a game. And it's funny because when they first started talking about it, the PC specs that they like, their target specs, were so far beyond what my computer was capable of. I was like, why am I even a part of this? I'm never going to be able to play this game. And now all those specs are outdated. So like they're even just beyond the scope of what they were even dreaming about. Like that's come and gone in reality. So I mean, I don't know if they're going back and trying to just, they're getting caught in the cycle of just kind of trying to catch up to what, being a cutting edge type of game. I know definitely they're caught in feature creep, which is just you just keep on adding stuff. You don't ever draw a line in the sand. You just say, hey, that sounds good. We'll put that in. That sounds good. We'll put that in. And nothing ever actually gets finished. But the people who are still kind of around there will swear it's a real thing. They're developing it and it's going to come out and it's all good. And you're just a hater because you don't know that yeah, they took our $500 million and they're definitely making this game that's 11 years old. But I mean, I guess if it ever does come out, it'll be it'll be one of the best like 30 for 30 style documentaries ever made. Meanwhile, 5-6 years ago, this game called No Man's Sky, which was made by a developer who had about 3 to 5 people working for them over in England. Came out and delivered every single thing that Star Citizen had promised on. So like it's an infinite essential universe, and you can go from the surface of one planet out into deep space into the surface of another planet, all real time, no loading or anything like that. You build your ships, you customize everything. So that came out from a developer with less than 10 people working for them, and this $500 million organization can't seem to even get a beta out after over a decade.
And also Bethesda is putting out Starfield next year, right?
Yeah, it's looking like spring. It got delayed. It's supposed to be November,
and that's where I'll be spending most of my free time playing.
If you don't know about Bethesda, that they make Elder Scrolls, so like Skyrim, Morrowind, Oblivion, and they make Fallout as well. So the big giant worlds to explore is kind of their thing.
I spend like a good 8% of my life playing Skyrim.
So yeah, Star Citizen. He had a great idea, and he milked. I mean, it still is milking every cent out of that underserved community that he can, and he's gotten surpassed by several other developers at this point. But good on him for making all that money, I guess.
Yeah,